Okay, here we are on September 28th, 2010, at the coffee shop in Boulder, Colorado. Folsom Coffee, that's right? Is that where we are? And this is with Alex, who is the founder and chief everything at Stay Vocal.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us your whole name so we get it right here,
Okay.
your website, and what you do.
Okay. My name is Alex Deves, and I run Stay Vocal. It's a green certified reuse apparel company, and basically we rescue T-shirts and give them a second life. Half of the T-shirts come from thrift stores and donations, and we make unique, one-of-a-kind pieces with those, but we also work with merchandise companies that are destroying T-shirts, whether they be burned or shredded, and we acquire them before that happens, and then we, revitalize them, either cover the print with a patch or flip them inside out.
And if I found you because you were up for an award by Green Biz magazine, or Green Biz, right?
Green America.
Green America, I'm sorry. Okay, I was close.
Yep, it's Green America, which is the nonprofit that certifies businesses in America. It's the biggest one, certifies them green. It's a really strict process that you have to go through to get certified. And I am a top 10 finalist for Green Business of the Year, which is pretty exciting.
It's pretty exciting. And where are you located?
All over the country right now. Home base is permanently Massachusetts. That's where I'm from originally, but I spend a lot of time in Northern California where the green scene is pretty awesome and up and coming. But currently I am on a nationwide tour, as we said.
And I'm going to pan over here to the to show people some of the stuff you're touring with.
Sure.
Well, keep talking.
So we're on a nationwide tour. We started in Berkeley, California, just going all the way to Massachusetts, where I'm from, and we're hitting California, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Pittsburgh, lots of cities and states.
Well, Alex, tell me what the purpose of the tour is.
Okay. The purpose of the tour, it's called the Reuse and Schmooze Tour, and basically...
Are we schmoozing right now?
Oh, we're totally
Okay, all right, just making sure.
Yeah, and we're reusing.
Yeah, and you're reusing,
my
right.
outfit is
And I even brought you a T-shirt so you can reuse it.
Exactly.
But I no longer fits me, unfortunately.
Nice, and I will reuse it wisely. But the main purpose was to basically show people and talk to people what I'm doing. One of the best ways that I can present my company has been at events and farmers markets and different things like that, because people can see it and they can touch it and they can try it on, whatever. Online only does so much. And one of my favorite things to do is just sit around a coffee shop and drink coffee and talk to people about that. So I combined that with my years of touring with band experience, and I brought my friend Roger, who plays under the name Dandelion Snow, and basically every night we're just setting up in different coffee shops. He plays the music, I talk about what we do, and then we hang out and talk to people.
So what would success look like from this tour for you? And let me just qualify that question. I would assume that it would be people's awareness to be heightened about the problem that I did not know existed till I visited your website, which is bazillions of pounds of T-shirts are thrown into landfills or thrown away every year.
Right.
And it takes a hell of a lot to make a T-shirt, and I had no clue. So,
right.
and I would assume, hopefully, being socially responsible capitalists, we're also trying to increase the numbers of sales that you generate.
Right.
Am I accurate?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So of course success, of the tour would be, I sell a bunch of T-shirts, but I've already sold one T-shirt, and that's one T-shirt that's kept out of the landfill, and that's one T-shirt that is not bought new, so that's 400 pounds of water that is saved, because that's what it takes to grow the cotton for a new T-shirt. So that first person who bought a T-shirt on this tour, made it successful already, because I, helped educate that person just a little bit so they can know what's going on and purchase a reused garment.
Do a lot of money. A lot of people do not have a clue that it takes 400 pounds of water, you said?
400 pounds of water, to grow the cotton for a new T-shirt.
And then what kind of energy it takes to process and make that? Any of those numbers?
I don't, unfortunately.
But it's a lot.
The only other number that, and I'm really into, I don't like to spew a lot of facts because people get inundated with facts. So I just kind of give the basics. But it's millions of pounds of textiles are discarded every year. I used to know an exact number, but it's changing.
But it's millions of pounds. Though.
Yeah.
It's a huge number.
Yeah, it's disgusting because it's when a band breaks up or a company goes out of business or the sports team loses, all those shirts were destroyed, either shredded or burnt. And there was a big story this year. H&M and Walmart were caught doing that. They were slashing all the shirts that didn't sell and throwing them out in the street in garbage bags. Fortunately, I guess H&M stopped that practice. I don't know about Walmart, but that's a different story.
That's a pretty amazing fact and stuff. So I want to ask you a little bit about how this idea came to you, and what influenced you to do something good, because this whole interview is about businesses that are doing great because they're doing good things,
right.
From a capitalist point of view. But a benevolent, socially responsible, consumer conscious capitalism, not hardcore, kill the earth at any price, the old brand of capitalism.
Tell me kind of
briefly your story, and then from 2 points of view. One is the business itself, but jump back a second. There's a great history on your website. I really like reading that. But there must have been something that influenced you. Not everyone grows up with a conscience the same way you did. So somewhere, was it an event, a person, a place, a thing, a book? Kind of give me the whole you story.
Sure. Is that running?
We're running, yeah.
Okay.
We're running.
There was a few things that really started me off doing what I'm doing. I traveled with a lot of bands over the past 10 years or so of my life, and most of the bands that I worked with were bands that had a positive message, whether they be political or just positive mental state in general. And I learned a lot, and I saw how fans interacted with them and were so inspired. And in fact, I was really inspired by one of those bands early on, a band called 311. And I grew up being a really, gloomy metal kid, like whatever. But I started listening to them, and just all their lyrics are really positive and upbeat, and that kind of helped, shape how I wanted to do things. I saw what they did for other people, so I was like, okay, I want to put a little positive stamp on this world too. So there's that, and then for most of my life I've been skateboarding, and I realized in 2003 that I needed to do something else with skateboarding besides skateboarding, because I had my second related surgery. So I came up with an idea to make a positive change skateboard company. So it was being able to do something that I loved and put a positive stamp on this planet. But when I first started the company, I realized that it cost so much money to make skateboards. And then I was like, okay, I'll just make t-shirts. But then I realized how much money it takes to just make an initial run of t-shirts, because most companies have minimum. So I was like, what can I do? And I realized that I could just go to a thrift store and buy up a bunch of different t-shirts, and then just have a friend who had a printer, make some t-shirts. And people thought that was a really cool idea, and I started selling them on tour with one of the bands that I worked for. And they saw the reused t-shirts, and they really liked that idea. And as I was doing that, I wanted to also educate a little bit. Because the name of the company is Stay Vocal, and I feel like I can't just put the logo on something. There has to be some kind of educational value. So I did research, and I came across a number. I think at that time it was like 1.9 million pounds of textiles are discarded every year, and it just kind of blew me away. So
that became a free source of your supply,
yeah,
as opposed to creating new source of supply.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So there was that, and then a couple years down the road, I was working with one of the bands, and they had printed a bunch of new t-shirts, but the design was accidentally printed on the left side versus the right side. And so I called the merchandise company and said, we're not happy with these, the band doesn't want to sell them, what can we do? And they're like, just send them back. And I'm like, okay, what will you guys do with them? Were you able to reuse them in any way? And they're like, no, we just shred them and send them to a rag company. And I was like, you shred 144 brand new American Apparel, t-shirts that have never been worn, and just destroy them? And they're like, oh yeah, that's normal. And that's when I was like, okay, this should not be normal. So I started really getting into the reuse apparel movement. I started that was actually the first purchase I made. I talked to the band and I talked to the company, and I acquired all of those shirts. And actually, one of them is right over here.
So this is an original?
Yeah. So this was that shirt that I talked about, and basically the original design was under here, and it was just printed on the wrong side, so I acquired all of those shirts and just
So you sewed patches on them?
Stay Vocal logo patches over the original design.